اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والقاتل لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراط المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل الصلاة وتم تسليما على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن هذا السادة التابعين وعلماء عاملين وأئمة الأربعين مجتهدين مقلديهم إلا يوم الدين. أما بعد. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Welcome to another the Soullutionz podcast. I am one of your hosts, Imam Muhammad Abdullah Ameen, along with Amir Khalil Abdullahi and brother Ustad Saleh Abdul Mujeeb and Imam Malik Robinson. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, like and share to your page, to your platforms. Get the algorithm going on Facebook and the algorithm going on YouTube. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We have a number of programs going to be going on. We're going to have this annual Dean Intensive in Chicago in October, the weekend of the 19th of October. The weekend of the 19th of October. The program is going to be 2 days that starting the 20th and the 21st. And I spread the flyer out on Facebook, so we're gonna put it on our other platforms on Instagram and Twitter and every other social media platform that we have in Tasdeed Sunnah. Our topic tonight. What is the topic tonight? I'm driving, man, and I ain't got my glasses. I can't see.
The topic tonight, it is called a discussion on: is my emotions the cause of my failed relationships?
Nope, mine ain't.
No, yours not.
The cause of my failed relationships are that people are counter-revolutionary. No, subhanAllah. Yeah, so it's a loaded discussion that we're gonna have. I don't know if we're gonna be able to hit on so many different points in this hour or 2 hours, but this is gonna be interesting. Everyone, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Those who are watching in the comments, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So all those who gave the salam when they first tune.
Yo, sidebar, right? Sidebar. I'm gonna say the person name too. The sister Malika Muhammad swore up and down that was your crib. She said he has a grand piano in the back.
So
yo, I was done. I said, you think she thought you looked like a rapper. Alhamdulillah.
My green screen.
Yo, she thought it was just spit out.
a grand piano in the back and probably can't read music.
Hey man, Ahmed Jamal, you know what I'm saying?
And I forgot how to read music.
Oh man, yo, I was done when she said that. I said, "What you thought?" She said, "Y'all thought he was living it up." I said, "Oh." Oh man.
So that was a good laugh for the night. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Radiyallahu ta'ala anhu wa sadat tabi'in wa ulama amilina Imam, right? We study D. I'm gonna call it D him in a Yo Medina Mabad. Yo MTV Cribs, Muslim TV Cribs. There you go. All right, so tonight's topic. Let me give you a little backstory. Me and the good brother Saleh, we was conversing early in the week, talking about problems and issues, especially with uh, brothers trying to get married and things of that nature. And so, he was kind of like going in a little bit, and then I was, kind of like we did the flip side, right? That flip side, I'm always like the devil's advocate. My mind be like working in like, in the sphere. You might be talking to me, and I sat there and thought about, I'm processing what you're saying, but then I'm looking at the flip side. You know what I'm saying? Of, the discussion. And so then we also talked about, because we was talking about people having emotional hangups, and the focus of discussion, because it was something that he was just dealing with, on a personal tip, and we were talking about that. And then the next thing we started talking about, men have emotional hangups as well, you know. So, that's where this whole dialogue came from. It was just like, yo, this joint a pretty tight discussion, and we decided to discuss this. But however, I kind of like extended it, the discussion a little more in detail. I mean, the broaden it. I should rephrase that statement. I broaden it a little bit more, because it's not just talking about just relationships, and this is something that is a hang up that we have as Black American Muslims, is that we only focus and emphasize when we talk about relationships. Our first go-to is usually think about husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or love life, right? But oftentimes, and this is a stigma that's hanging over the community, right, where both genders want to blame each other, right? And so then oftentimes the driving force of the disdain or the dislike that is motivating is usually some experience, or they want to blame a person. So usually the first, usually with men, and it comes to men and it starts talking about responsibilities and things of that nature, sometimes I think we forget to include, when it starts with men. Men are the providers, protectors, and things of that nature, right? However, there's a couple things that you got to keep in mind. Number one, you can't protect what you don't control, right? Meaning, I can't protect my family if my family doesn't listen to me, right? I could talk to you till you blue in the face. A imam can't protect his congregation if they ignore him, right? And this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, each and every one of you guys are shepherds, right? And each of you are responsible for your flock, right? And you'll be questioned about your flock. Okay. Now, what you got to understand here with this parable, the eloquence of the Prophet ﷺ, and what he's teaching us is that he's giving us an example, a shepherd. Sometimes shepherds lose sheep. He'll lose the sheep or the lamb or whatever it is that he's protecting, to the wolf or the wild animal that's trying to eat them, right? Some in the majority of the time, that lamb that's lost is usually that one that keeps straying. All right, that's number one. So your protection is faulty if you have no influence or control over that which you're supposed to protect. The providing. I know that some of us are NBA stars, rappers, trap stars, what do you call them? Scammers, credit card bosses. Some of us went through college and got like a top shelf gig, but it still doesn't change. Swipers, it still doesn't change the reality that if you're a minority in this country, there's no financial equality. There's no financial equality. We can play that game. We guys act like we don't see it, and we don't see that we have a economic disadvantage as well. So therefore, with that economic disadvantages, usually it's easier to blame the one that's supposed to be in the driver's seat. But if you don't have the ability to be in the driver's seat, that seems to be where the people's dilemma is, right? And their mind isn't working. So it's like, what do we do? Do we throw the whole idea of being, in relationship, marriage, things away? Or B, do we, accept our reality and kind of like tweak the role and position, but still, keep going forward and try to make our situation better? Now, usually what makes us fall short in the as being a provider, some men lack the driving force. Some men have serious self-esteem issues. You know what I'm saying? Have serious self-esteem issue. It's okay to recognize, if you broke, right? You taking turn that, brokenness, if that's even a word, and turn that into motivation to make things happen, right? That's how life should go, right? But however, some people get stuck in that particular space. Now, when you say provider, men lacking in provision, why is it always that we exempt the fathers? It's just right to the husband. The first provider for his family is the father, right? He's the first provider, the husband. What he's passing down, he has to pass it down to the sons and the daughters, the concepts, the principles, the ideas. But we skip over that and we start our family not at the father, but we start our family at the man, the husband, right? And so sometimes these also, and these things begin to build up and to pile up of why we're not gonna work our relationships. Now, when you're saying relationships, because we're Muslim, we're automatically by default referring to marriage, okay? But there are also other relationships that you must maintain, and emotions can get in the way of that. And we're going to talk about the comparison between emotions, feelings, and the mood. And then we're also going to talk a little bit. I'm going to touch as brief as possible, right? I'm not trying to give you a whole lecture. It's a podcast, but I'm trying to enlighten you. I want you to get a little something out of this. And then we'll also talk about the comparison of emotions and desires, okay? Now, it's very normal to have emotions and feelings in the moods, right? If you want a quick combat answer. Oh, first let me go back. Let's talk about this relationship. So your emotions can damage your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Your emotions can damage your relationship with Allah. How is that? Allah Ta'ala commands you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala commands you can belie, meaning not accept to believe and accept those things. Emotion gets in the way. I'll give you an example of one emotion that's constantly played on, and how some men and leaders both, whether you are an imam or just a head of household or otherwise, right? Simping is a form of pandering, right? Where, and what simping is, where they pander to the woman's needs and necessities. And not all the time, the needs that you cater to women are actually wrong, but there's a time and a place. See, I could talk about this discussion, and it might be some women that disagree or some women that agree. Some women that disagree, they might say their point and they keep it moving. The women that agree, they just like, all right, yeah, I'm feeling that. But the simp, he's a whole nother level. He don't just only disagree, but he challenges your manhood and he connects the manhood, your manhood. When he starts off a statement, usually if you hear someone say a real man, is usually a female that's about to say that statement. But if you hear a man say a real man, he's either one of two things. He's either flexing or he's simping. If he's flexing, they usually got the guy to be like, yo, a real man, see, he got that, he get that money, he take care of his family. Why he poking his chest out? Because he probably got that, right? But then you also got the other real man, he's simping. There's a sister on there in the audience, and just like when sisters, they go hard at men, at discredited men, you got the simp boy in there, hard body. He's all in, right? So, these all right, hold on one second. I gotta let Mom in there. So these things they play a part in today's gender war that we have going on, and it only has gotten worse because we're recognizing the shortcomings in each other, right? We're not dealing with things from an Islamic solution. All right, that's a whole nother bigger problem that you have when you're not dealing with things from an Islamic standpoint, right? So those relationships, that first relationship you destroy is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, and then you start pandering ideas. One of the biggest methods I've seen of pandering, in today's time, is the whole concept of this whole anti-polygyny on behalf of men saying that it destroys families. No, your foul behavior that you've adopted destroys marriages, right? Most people deal with a adulterous situation and be patient with it, right? Be patient with it, both men and women, right? Adultery is absolutely acceptable in today's time in the community. People don't even have to come out and say, I don't accept it or I do accept it. It's accepted, right? Each person, and I'm going to let Saleh talk on that. You know what I'm talking about, Saleh, when we was talking the other day, when we was talking about generational zina, right? I'm going to let you get in on that, right? But however, each of them accept it. What's happening is now, as we change generations, our younger crowd claims to accept polygyny, which they do. But if you ever notice, it ends up on some real nonsense and some kind of physical fight, altercation, or somebody ends up dead. And it don't got nothing to do with the deen. It got to do with all of the madness. Most people that I know, I married a lot of people. I've done with a lot of marriages, in Philadelphia, right? A lot of people, I can say this, I'm not saying no names or anything like that, so don't nobody gotta worry if I'm blowing you up. I'm not. Most men I know that I've counseled with situations where they were married and they wanted another wife, right? It started off as she being the mistress. All right, it started off like that. A good portion of them, I'm not saying all of them, good portion of them, right? And that's level. The people with stronger iman, they come at it with deen, they come at it with, in that manner. People that's a little on the weaker side, they still, running around sleeping and cheating, right? So there's this one situation in particular, and and this is a perfect example of what I'm thinking about. So there's one brother, he been creeping with this woman for quite some time, right? The wife, doing the I Spy, your sisters do that I Spy thing, right? She basically followed homeboy, caught him out there, caught him, right? Not caught him in the act doing anything or nothing like that. The lady wasn't Muslim at first, okay? She ended up becoming Muslim. Now she became Muslim, now the wife aggression has turned up times 10, right? Then the wife recommends to her husband, she says, and I'm telling you this because I know both parties. She says, Imam, I recommend that he just go ahead and get another wife, go ahead and marry the sister. Right? So I think he was like, he was, no, brothers, y'all got to stop doing this. If you want to get married, you need to just be that. Stop that lying and pandering the sister. I don't never want another woman. And matter of fact, if you stop doing this, to be honest with you, I mean, they already a plethora of women that's already single. But you'll stop the whole anti-polygyny shenanigans. You ain't gotta hide, you ain't gotta creep. The newer wife ain't gotta feel like the secret or the side piece or mistress, as you said, and so on and so forth. This is very important, right? So this guy, he tells his wife, I don't want no other woman, I don't want no other wife, right? Okay. But she thinking they on good terms. Now she's like, la 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 la. He said he doesn't want no other woman. She's feeling good now, right? She does another surprise visit, drop up on him at the job. A lot of things go down at work, right? And so she slides up there to come bring her man lunch. See, that's a disadvantage, sisters, when you don't like to feed your man. She slides up on him at work, right? This sister particularly slid up on her husband at work. Who does she see? Bam, he's sitting there, you know, it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing crazy. But what was he doing? He was chilling with homegirl, you know, eating lunch with her. So she seen this. Now she run down on him like, yo, what are y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna stop disrespecting me? Yada yada yada. All is starting coming in, you know, started festering, right? He, you know, however he does it, he, you know, he disassembles the argument. You know, one of the worst things you could do, though, good brothers, is don't play. You know, don't play at work. You know, that's how you feed your family, right? But
I
hey,
saw you and her
or
walking in the rain.
so you know, the good sisters, you know, they talked it out again. Once again, they sit down and talk, right? Tells him again. Why don't you just go ahead and marry the sister? What'd he say?
I don't want her.
No, she's just my friend. I said, okay. I said, now, you know, I'm looking at him. He looking at me like, and I'm like, come on, you know, right? So boom, he turns around and gets married now. I'm speeding up the story because I don't want to prolong. There's a lot of funny details in between. I don't want to share that. So he marries her, right? He didn't tell his wife right away. Now, mind you, she done caught y'all together like 2-3 times already, right? I don't know. She must have been tracking him, had a low jack. She ran down on me, man. You do know they got these things now, right? Send me your location, right? Where's your low? So she runs down on me, man. This time she got the polymer grip with her. Run down on him. Catch the two of them and, you know, followed them, rolled up with them. You know, watched it, timed it. I don't know why she timed it. She just tortured herself about a minute. Timed that joint. Knocked on the door. Opened the door. Boom. Bust a shot. Right? Didn't hit nobody. Alhamdulillah. But now she go get her family. Her family get the other family. And main man in the middle looking like, yo, what's going on? Right? Now we need to call Imam Khalil. Now we need to sit down and talk about this, right? So anyway, all driven off emotion. Now, at this point, that emotion wasn't absolutely wrong, right? It wasn't wrong. The problem is, though, is that there's a couple of things wrong on the brother's behalf. Stop lying. You want another woman? Yo, that's what you want. Say that. 2, you're going about it wrong. We ain't supposed to be taking the pudding before we get the pudding. Right? Number 3, stop lying. Right? The other thing is there's a lot of unwritten rules that's involved in American polygyny that really doesn't have nothing to do with Islam. Okay? That's a whole nother topic for another day. Now, these things happen and it was emotion involved. Emotion drive you to the next point, right? Until somebody almost get hurt. That's why I said, you know, it come a lot of hurt. Old heads, their way of addressing zina and ending up in polygyny is pretty much similar, except that it's not a lot of physical contact. It's more a whole lot of lying. And then usually what the weak man does, dang, sorry, I just kind of like just went in, but you know, whatever. Right?
That's cool. I'll piggyback off. You know, I'm gonna piggyback. Just throw it on the backboard.
So usually what the weak man does is he gets married, right? And this is the man's emotional hang up too. See, sisters, they just like, oh, I'm never gonna get married again. I'm gonna shut down. You know, I've been hurt before. Close the door. I ain't never coming back, right? Men, they don't do it like that. What we do is we pump fake through it. We got the woman that don't really want us, but want us. We was married to him at one time, and the relationship was good, and then it just got sour. She don't really want me no more. Y'all ain't really intimate like that. There's nothing there. Intellectually, everything you do, she just spits on it. You know, you trash, like, yo, bro, you hot garbage, you buns, all that good stuff, right? Now you starting to feel some type of way, and you keep treating the man like that. What he gonna do? He goes out and he looks for another lady, right? Now, when I'm saying going out looking for another lady, we talking about a halal man. He gets married, right? Or he ain't even married. He's just engaged in talks, right? Just talking, having sit down, you know, getting to know one another before they even enter into that phase of marriage. So what happens is the woman that don't want him, guess what she do? She pops back up. Hey, baby, you know, what you doing? He ain't been calling me. See, usually brothers don't pay attention, but all that, how you be calling and stalking the sister, when that joint stops, she recognizes it, right? My ex-wife taught me a valuable lesson with that. I used to be like, yo, how do you always know when I'm about to get married, right? She said, Khalil, your pattern changed. You're a routine guy. Your whole pattern changed. I started thinking about it. I'm like, damn, I gotta keep my poker face from now on, right? So now, if I'm always angry, I gotta remain angry. I can't come in smiling because the sister just whispered some sweet nothings to me or something like that before I got home. I gotta wipe that off my face. Like, yo, it was a hard day at work today. You gotta maintain, right? However, your pattern changed. Well, when you stop calling her, when she answered the phone, what, Khalil? It ain't answering like that no more, right? You're like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna stop calling. Now, not all the time when that man stopped calling, that actually mean he looking for another wife. But just to keep it a whole hundred with you, when you keep your man call you every day, he probably just wanna, and this happened to me before, like happened plenty of times. You ever just want to call your wife, just say, yo, Assalamu alaikum, salam, what you doing? How you doing? Blah, 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 right? And you get the phone, they pick up the phone, Assalamu alaikum, salam. Like, damn, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. What did you want? What you want? And you getting this on a regular basis? Meanwhile, while you outside, everybody, hey, good brother, how you doing? Right? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with women, right? So, boom, you got this thing happening, you got this buildup happening, right? So just to wrap it up, get to my point. So you have this thing happening. The idea of someone else actually wanting you comes in. Now some men that's really down, dumps, and depressed, and they don't got a lot of self-esteem left. They take what comes to them, right? So when a woman is the initiator and take that push towards you, you like, dang, yeah. You start talking about the oil you was wearing or the kufi, yeah, babe, remember that kufi you bought me? Alhamdulillah, you start doing little stuff like that, right? Somebody said it was nice today. That's all. She acts like she's jealous, but she really ain't paying mind. She's scrolling, inboxing her secret lover, tweeting, doing all that other good, all that other good stuff. Meanwhile, you still sitting there feeling like, whole chunk. Move forward. You start really accepting it for what it is. It been what it was. The relationship been over, but you holding on by the thread, hoping that there's still one last flame there. You holding on. Then, you finally make your mind up like, look, I'm going to go ahead and pursue this sister. Now you pursuing her. Those calls ain't coming in no more for her to say, what you want, Khalil? Hey, right? That ain't coming in no more. You ain't even been calling. Then she starts noticing. You ain't even checked to see if I got home. You ain't even see if the kids need anything, right? Everything starts changing, right? Then before you know it, you dropping a hatchet on her. Babe, you know what? Listen, I've been giving some thought to this. I'm gonna go ahead and get married. Or, that's if you a straightforward guy. The other guy is the guy, he all extra secretive, and all that. She done went in your phone, seen all your messages, and she steady telling you, you ain't gotta lie, Saleh. Just tell me you talking to a sister. You like, I don't know what you talking about. Right? You know those kind of guys, right? And then what happened? She start digging, getting in your passwords and stuff, because dudes don't have no type of privacy. They got to get their wife everything. That's how you get emasculated on social media these days. Open your phone, Khalil. Open it. Tell these sisters that that's how you get emasculated now. You ain't got no more kahunas no more, right? So now you doing all these things. She got all your passwords and everything. She's in there. And now she's picking a fight with homegirl. Now you got the battle of statuses, right? And she call her friends, and her friends call her friends, and her friends get her friends involved. And next thing you know, you got this messiness going on.
But Imam Khalil,
Philly, but I see everybody do it, huh?
But Imam Khalil, peep this. She's doing all of that while she's texting Abdullah.
Exactly.
And the same token.
Exactly. But don't forget the same vibes I'm talking about with men. Women do the same exact thing too. The unrighteous women, right? We're not talking about the good righteous brothers. We're talking about the unrighteous women. They do the same exact thing on both sides. They both doing the same thing. The stats is coming. All that stuff is coming. So either you just remain miserable, with a woman that really don't want you. She wants you out of convenience. Or you go ahead and pursue. And then you got the, you got homegirl where she tell you, look, I'm from North. I'm from Diamond Street. Right? Like, yo, I ain't afraid to get in the field, right? And she get down, play dirty too. Like, yo, you ain't gonna stop me from marrying her, right? So now you just a pawn in the middle at this point because you lost control, lot. You can't turn to your wife and tell your wife to chill. Hey, you can't turn to your shorty and tell your the new wife who you trying to marry. You can't tell her to chill either. Neither one of them listening to you.
But it
And
goes back to what you said in the beginning of the week. When we was talking about it, is that is no accountability on our women end, right? Is no accountability. They act like that. They act like that because there's no accountability. So you can act like that when nothing is going to happen on that end.
Right.
The result, the end result is always that it comes crashing down on the man. He lost out on his potential, and he lost out on the wife.
What you
on his wife
is on point, because if you ever been in a situation or seen a situation where a person trying to marry another wife, and the two women are involved, both of them is sitting there guarantee you, watch, I'm gonna marry you. No, I'm gonna marry you. Watch, you just gonna be sick, sis. You gonna be balled up, sis. Once I get in, don't call on my 3 nights. Bro, they done planned the whole fitna already. You just a pawn in the middle. At this point, you just a thug just hanging up. Right? That's what's happening. It don't have nothing to do with Islam. This is all ego, emotion, and all that, right? Which I'm gonna get to the definitions, and then I'm gonna let y'all do y'all 1 and 2. Just want to finish up my point, drive my point home. So these type of things happen. So man now is paying attention to the new sister, and what happened? Ozo, she rolls up. Like, what you think you doing? Right? And then a person that's manipulating you, they're gonna go at those things that you love. A person only damages what you love. If you ever had the Destructicon, you know, that person that like to destroy your clothes, your cars. And I ain't gonna just put a gender to it, because now men are getting like that too. And at one point in time, we used to attribute that to only women. But dudes is getting like that too. I'll tear this house up, burn houses down, all that stuff, right? You get the Destructicon. That person, they want to destroy you, destroy everything you got going on, even destroy your other marriage. They're going to tear it down, or I'm going to keep the kids away from you, or I'm going to put you on child support, or I'm going to take you to court for custody, or you'll never see us again, I'm leaving. All of these things is playing with emotional blackmail, right? Then you even got big grown men, 6'1", 200-something pounds, crying like, I don't think I can hurt my wife. You can't hurt your wife, so what you gonna do, Scrams? Well, I'm gonna have to just go ahead and divorce you. I'm gonna have to go back to the way things was before I met you, right? So you got to think about this. These things are playing, and it has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with Islam. Majority of it is anti-Sharia. It's emotionally driven. So by your misbehavior, also what can happen is you'll ruin and destroy your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? That same emotion, and I'm talking about just what I just mentioned to you, that whole trifecta. You just ruin a relationship with parents with children. The children are watching these things, right? All of these things are starting to happen, and they're happening like this. And as you watching, your world is crumbling, right? The world is just crumbling. These are emotionally driven, and a lot of the sources, it does not have anything rooted in the Sharia other than just the actual contract of nikah in and of itself. So real quick, so let's give a simple definition to emotions, right? Emotions can turn into a mood or a person's mood, right? The mood gets affected, the mood affects your emotion. And then your feelings is basically how you interpret your emotions, right? Now, the emotion, according to some of the psychologists, is defined as a physiological response received, stimulating, and it releases chemicals throughout the body that last, right? Probably about 6 seconds. So however you feel, right? And it's like that split moment. So you start off with that emotion, right? That emotion will turn you into, I've seen a person, you ever seen two Muslims going at it, and one say fear Allah, what does the other one say? No, you need to fear Allah, right? That's all emotionally driven. Because what is known from the Sahabas, the practice of the Sahabas, and the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, what did they do? When they were told to fear Allah, they got afraid. Like, damn, what did I do? self-recollection, right? Accountability, holding themselves accountable. You tell somebody now in the heat of a moment, I've seen people say that somebody was going through something, going through a problem. I'm talking to them like, listen, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you. They literally told me, I don't want to hear that. SH. Right? So this is what I'm saying. That emotion turns into the mood. Now your whole mood is, right? You remember back in the 80s, everybody used to make that joke. I got my FM dress on, right? Now the Muslims, when they get in their bag and I ain't on my deen, it's the same thing. It's that mood. And when you ain't on your deen, right? Or I ain't there right now, what happens? You put Islam to the side. You put Islam to the side.
And go back to the same dude,
that
same guys that started the shenanigans in the first place.
There you go.
They never changed from that. Never
a cycle.
So another short definition of emotion. Emotion turns into a mood. And the mood affects your emotion. And the feeling is how you interpret your emotion, right? Or feelings are more specific than emotions. So, but the emotion will come first. The feelings come after that, you know. And like I said, the emotion changes within the body and then it's expressed. Now imagine that when you put that up against your Islam, right? Allah Ta'ala may tell you this. He may tell you to do this. But whatever you feeling at that time, if it don't agree with what you feeling, then you push what Allah Ta'ala says to the side. And like I said, those relationships, it ain't just in marriage, but it also family relationships as well. You know, so these things. So that I'm gonna stop, fall back. All right, y'all brothers, go ahead and do your thing. Inshallah. I'm still here though. I'm just gonna mute myself.
Alhamdulillah. No need to mute because you know I wanted to be an open dialogue. You know, we you know, it's not just about one person having the floor sometimes because the most organic things is that, like I said, we piggybacking off of each other. And Imam Khalil, you right, you right, you know, to a degree, because what we spoke about, as you said, the emotion aspect. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Is it good? Can you hear me? Okay. So what me and Imam Khalil was speaking about, right? We're going to get into that. What me and Imam Khalil was talking about, you know, one of the topics is what he was saying, that we was talking about, you know, brothers going to get wives and the difference between what the younger generation, how they go about getting a co-wife, and then how the elders do. And I said, you know, normally the elders, you know, they try to be secretive about it because they have a lot more to lose than the younger generation, right? The younger generation, old girl find out about it, he's like, hey, okay, whatever, I'll go find, you know, this other sister, right? Whatever it is, you know, he's still out there. He's understanding life. But with the elders is that he feels as though he got a lot more to lose if this don't go his way. He has to be strategic. He just can't think off of emotions. So it's like, okay, if I do this and I tell her, she may feel this way, and I may lose everything that I built and what I created with this sister. And I can't afford to do that. And that's the difference between what's going on, right? But also the main thing I was talking about, you know, is one of the posters that I put up, right? I spoke about that now. It's like, due to what we've been through, these emotional roller coasters we had, these bad experiences we had, is that we're making marriages harder to get in and easier to exit. Again, harder to get in, easier to exit, right? We're to the point where you make your dowry extremely hard to get, right? But then the options of you leaving out of the marriage is way more easier to do. I can't marry you, but as soon as I marry you, okay, look, this is what we're going to do. If you disrespect me, you don't like me, you look at me funny, you talk to me funny, you smell funny, you leave the toilet seat up, you throw your socks in the corner, I'm divorcing you. And it's in the contract, right? And it's in the contract. So if I do anything that hurts your feelings, you can leave. But I just gave you 5 bands, 10 bands. I just did all of this. You leaving me as soon as hardship comes, right? So now, and that's due to emotional experiences that we had with other people, right? a lot of times, and I'm only speaking from the men's point of view. Sorry, sisters, if I'm only talking about from our view, because sometimes, like what I said in the other post too, like I'm tired of talking about making it feel like it's a gender war. I'm not talking about a gender war, but I want accountability on all ends. We can sit up here and talk about men all day, right? We can sit up here and talk about men all day. But what about if it's the other problem? What about now if the reverse has changed, the roles change, which they have, where we spoke about many issues. We ain't gonna put names out there that sisters are entertaining 5, 6, 7 different men and getting caught and don't care that she got caught. Well, I'm leaving my options open. But then get mad at you if you say, yeah, I'm talking to this other sister about marriage. Oh, you talking to another sister. Sister, you just told you.
Hold on, Sheikh. They don't even do that. They Islamically justified. We didn't say we were intended. So from what I understood from the hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu, right? When Omar had offered Hafsa for marriage, Abu Bakr declined. Why did Abu Bakr decline? Because he knew that the Prophet Sallallahu was interested in marrying her. Right? There was no conversation yet or anything. It was something he expressed to Abu Bakr. Right? Now you got brothers talking to a sister that's supposed to be in talks with the brother. If y'all ain't and actually in the Sharia, when you study fiqh, you most people are like, we didn't announce the marriage, make a big deal. No, actually, you really announced the engagement. So everybody know the sister's off the market. That's what's supposed to be, be announced. But that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself.
All right. So, going into that, right? Going back to what I was saying, is that like I said, when we look at that, right? Well, what was I saying? You made me lose my train of thought. Bring it back. What did I say? What did I say?
We was talking about the sister who talking to like 10 brothers.
Right. Bada boom, bada bang. Sister, don't even care that she got caught, right? Don't even care she got caught, right? But then you talk to a sister, you say, are you entertaining sisters? And you like, yeah, I'm talking to 4 sisters. She gonna feel bad because she ain't the top major one, but I ain't the top pick. You like the brother who got the nice white thobe on, kufi sitting in the middle of the head, big beard, got the Gucci socks on with the Gucci's 1977s on. You really like him. I'm just the guy to entertain. I'm kind of smart and I'm a little handsome, right? So now it's like, on top of that, a lot of us are getting in marriages and we're still emotionally attached to someone else, right? I'm not gonna put no name, but I spoke to the brothers about it, where like when they get subliminal top, you're like, hey, what's going on? You speak to the sister that you're trying to marry. Hey, what's going on to you? I'm just having a bad day. Why are you having a bad day? Oh, because I'm trying to fight for something and somebody ain't trying to fight for me, and it's hurting my feelings when you try to love everybody, but they don't love you, and you're fighting and they ain't fighting either. You who ain't fighting for you? I'm on the phone. What's going on? Who the person that ain't fighting for you? Right. So that was like, we as men are also. Men are also going through the same situation. It's not speculation, because everything we're stating right now is factual proof what people were going through. Right? We're just using it in a sarcastic manner, but this is real life factual incidents. We're not going to say names or who and what happened to people. Right? Like, we sat down in a circle and showed a contract where the contract said if you consciously, directly and indirectly abuse me, I can divorce you. How do you indirectly abuse someone? How do you indirectly abuse someone? Right? So these are real life situations that people are going through, right? And let alone, like we said, we know things that when situations where women was talking to multiple people. This is real life.
Say what type of contract that is, though, because that joint could have been taken any type of way. It looks similar to a Muthar contract.
It looks similar to that, right? So now, like I said, we're only speaking factual proofs. Nothing we're saying is coming from a speculation. This is what's going on in society today, that we could point out many, you know, if we wanted to put names and titles on stuff that people was going through, we can say it, but we're not doing it because we're speaking on a dialect format and speaking on what are the major issues now. And the major issues now that a lot of people are still emotionally tied to people. You know,
Sister Malika, I'm now about to put you in the club with my wives in the Pie in the Sky club. If you really think that we making this up, my wives be like, "What? Are you serious?" It's the Pie in the Sky. Yeah, yes, this is.
You can't make this stuff up.
Right?
And
Malika, right? And Malika, and what we want to warn you about is that get out of that mind state. That same mindset. So sisters is doing this. So we're basically saying that sisters don't do anything outside of the norm. Only the men. So we got to get out of that situation where that our people chipped up. We forget. Excuse me. Hold on. Let me change this real fast. I had to put my petty hat on. Okay, Mr. Petty Draws is in the building right now. The same way that us men that was ex-drug dealers, ex-killers, ex-cons, ex-swipers, ex-this is the same way that these sisters was ex-stocks, ex-strippers, ex-prostitutes, and found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala due to a man probably giving her nasiya. So we think that some of this stuff everything left them, but the desires and the nefs only are attacking the men. Then we got something wrong with our community.
Well, look, I'll say this. It's really good, all fairness, right? Brothers and sisters. Some brothers, they don't have no good intentions. Women, some women don't. Like I said, I used that adjective before. I'm gonna stick with that. The unrighteous, the uncouth, they out here just like doing whatever, right? They're doing it however they want to do it, doing it when they want to do it, however, disregarding the Sharia, right? There's some people that's actually looking, for marriage that with good intentions, and then you just got some people that's just kind of like just out there spinning their wheels. Like I done seen 10 million sisters, do it. He sent me a picture of his slum. I'm like, what? You understand?
Of the yearner.
Me, I just be like, yo, I can't believe, and I'm like you on that, like, yo, what?
That was before.
But
that was after she offered him to drink the milk for free, and he sent a picture of his main man.
This sisters, you talk to them, you got good intent. You like Assalamu alaikum, hey son, hey listen, you trying to get married? Yeah, I'm trying to get married. About 2 days in talking to you, she's sending you butt naked flicks. So
right.
Yes,
it happens. It going both
ways.
They
got no pics.
The man is sending the picture.
Who they try to entice?
Right, the man is sending pictures of the yearner, and the woman sending pictures of the kitty. You know what I mean? The man sending the yearner, and the woman sending the yada yada me. You know what I mean? So, this is reality. Like I said, we may be taking
or the woman sending the man of a video of another dude slamming her with the hammer.
Abdullah. I don't even want to see that like that, but that's reality.
Yeah.
You see how, and then say things like, "You see how good I am." This is real. But like I said, we may be saying it lightly, but in reality, we're saying it lightly to attract the people so you can understand that this is what's really going on. And all of this, to play devil's advocate, all of this is because we're emotionally scared to be vulnerable again or open again. So we go back to this box of testing, trying to test waters out because we're scared of being vulnerable. And none of us allow ourselves to be vulnerable with each other.
Hold on,
right?
Wait a minute. This isn't like a topic without solution. It's absolute. The whole thing is driven, especially with a lot of the what's motivating people is off of absolute emotion. Like for instance, there's no reason. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. What was it? Correct me if I'm wrong, Malik. Salima. She married the Prophet Sallallahu, right? When the Prophet Sallallahu proposed to her, she said she was old in age, right? She said she has a lot of children, and she said that she was a jealous woman, right? And prior to that, she was married to Abu Salima, who she thought was nobody could ever touch him, right? Now, of course, the Prophet ﷺ is better than him because he's the greatest in creation, right? Somebody stop me if I'm wrong. How come that we have in today's time, right? And we're talking about this right here. You're saying this like, you know, we're coming without trying to develop a solution or things
but see let's not be.
And we're not.
But we always come with solutions. We always come with solutions,
right? Hold on, wait. Yeah. Now we're talking about no solution, right? Then how come there's so many unmarried sisters who may be widowed, divorced? When you're saying widow in the Sharia, it also talks about, he's always referring to the divorced woman. They remain unmarried. How is it that you have so many men that are remaining unmarried? But at the same time, when you're talking about having marriage, you know, for people to contract marriage, there's the reverse negativity. We're talking about dhulm. We're not on here referring to brothers as bums because they don't make a certain wage. You're talking about dhulm. This is wrongdoing to send a woman a picture of your slum. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. Versus, oh, I don't like the job you got, so I don't want to marry you, and then ridicule the person at the same time. That's not a solution. The solution is get married. That's the true solution.
And how many times?
No,
and how many times we said try and stay married and stay married?
There's more unmarried women in our time now. People don't even look twice at the unmarried sister because a lot of times she's already burnt out, hurt from the, you know, from her last situation with her last husband. That's why she makes that contract that if you lose a job and you don't get a new job in 90 days, I have the right to divorce myself. People go on an up and down algorithm all day. But you start making these type of clauses. Or if you get another wife, I'm out of here. I don't want any children. I'm not taking care of your children, right? This is what's keeping everybody divorced. The righteous people, and they remain unmarried so long, sometimes they fall into error, right? But them other heathens, the unrighteous, the uncouth, they sending you pictures of their slum right from the rip. The only thing Muslim about them is the slams. Salam alaikum, sister. He'll call you on Facebook video butt naked. Salam alaikum, sister. Right?
but Imam Khalil is that, and again, man, is that we're like I said, we for someone to say we never come up with solutions, that just shows that you ain't either in tune with what we got going on. That the whole beginning is speaking about what the problem, and at the end we speak about the solution. But we got to talk about what the problem is, right? We got to talk about the problem. And some of these problems, it may be we don't want to hear it because it involves us, right? It involves us. Like an example.
And we got to stop behaving and acting like this stuff don't exist because it do.
Oh, hold on, right here. This right here. It just says Facebook user. If I knew who you was, I'd give you a shout out. But this right here, people are in the dunya is the way they are in the deen. If people went back to the old ways of limited contact, going through third parties, most of this wouldn't happen. Absolutely, he wouldn't be sending no pictures of his strong. You think he's gonna come to the sit down with his hand out?
But read what he said. But we live in a hypersexual dunya. How many times do I say in our chat that we are hypersexual?
So what's
we are
hypersexual sexual activity?
That a man marrying a woman who he can't even combat because she got a 12-inch slammer in the top drawer in a rose. So he married her. He can't compete with that.
Listen what I'm saying.
For real,
what is the solution to a hypersexual society? Get married.
But they get married, Imam Khalil. They get married
and start to burn that fire down. But
they ain't go.
How we are, and how I witnessed we've been over the years, we'll criminalize a man for getting married. You just getting married for sex. If I was, is there anything wrong with that?
But Imam Khalil is not. This is the point we're trying to make. The society has reversing these things. It ain't the man want to get married. The man want to get married, right? The man want to get married.
Go. Sometimes
the man want. Listen, bros want to get married, bro.
Man doesn't. He just want to party.
Look,
But we don't got to identify with the unrighteous. We're going to speak about the body of Muslims, bro.
Some brothers get married just so that they can get married. They get married to this sister, find a reason to divorce, and get married to another sister.
Well, yeah, that on the other hand, he just a taster. That's all that dude is.
Before you look up, he done been married to 20 sisters in the past 2 years, and only been married to each one of them 30 days or 60 days before he divorced her.
So
then 3 years later, it blow right up in his face, and he exposed himself. He exposed himself to what he was doing.
All right,
usually those
it
kind of
happens all the
situations,
time.
though. Those be unique situations. Because I knew a brother like that, right? No, it's not on the topic of gender wars, sis. We have real life problems out here where people are going through this. These are real life situations. It's not about cat and mouse. I can tell you some horrifying things. You will probably think I was lying for some of the things I'll tell you, right? But we're telling you, we don't just come up with this just because somebody's angry with women and things like that. I'm an imam in the community. Muhammad, that means the imam in the community, right? We see certain things, right? One of the things I talk about, you don't hear many of the imams at all ever talk about. They turn their nose up at it. I talk about our youth violence. And I ain't just talking about any type of youth violence. I'm talking about in my city, in other cities as well, like Chicago, like New York. Them gangbangers, as we see them as gangbangers on the 6 o'clock news, them dudes are Muslim. So we talk about real life situation. Ain't no cat and mouse, no cat and mouse. Nor we sitting back, got man versus woman and none of that stuff. I'm always trying to get people to get married. Right, I'm always the person trying to like play the peacemaker between people, because most people are based off of hate, and their hatred, and their hatred and animosity is driven off of one party versus the other, right? But you'll never get the strength. The strength of a Black Muslim community has always been family. No matter whether you put Islam in it or Christianity, it's always been the family. If you go back to the plantation. What do you think they released the buck for? The stud to run around and commit a whole bunch of zina to get a whole bunch of illegitimate children. We still living that right now while people are still playing that particular game. So no, this ain't a thing about a gender war. We're trying to put the solution.
We care less. We care less about that, but we have to talk about issues.
What's playing into the gender war is this long, lengthy lifestyle of celibacy, right? With a long, lengthy lifestyle of celibacy, whereas in chemo one day, out chemo next day. I'm going to get married today, never ever get married. That plays into it. And then the guy comes along after a while, those late nights, that man with the song, he come hit your inbox next, right? These things are happening. These are real life situations. Do you know that most Americans, right? Get married, they already smashing already anyway, and they like, yo, you know what? We've been doing this too long, girl. Let's go ahead and fix this. That's what we're trying to eliminate. So with that, no, that's kind of like a slap in the face. I don't just sit around and just think of how we can add the gender war. Gender war's been a problem. It's been a problem. We've been mistreating women from the time I wasn't Muslim. I became Muslim. We were mistreating women from the time then, and I come into Islam, I can say a whole lot of, damn, I've seen this before. I know where this is from. Some people never even changed. They became Muslim, but they ain't become Muslim. And then for some reason, I don't know why, we glorify celibacy. It's not cool to be sitting around here unmarried. And that's now becoming a hallmark of our communities. We're having children, baby showers, children being born out of wedlock by Muslim parents. Gender war? That's part of a gender war. So this is the problem. The gender war is fueling everybody's separation. Instead of talking about situations, real life situations, starting to think, putting the think tanks together to come to a solution, we rather avoid the conversation or be like, yo, this thing is beneath us. Nah, we too good. We ain't. No, the same people that's saying we too good and it's beneath us, our children, they ain't directly affecting us. It's our children who's practicing it. And we upholding it, having baby showers for Rafika and Muhammad with their little baby, John Abdul Latif. Because that's what's happening now.
Or these young boys sliding at janazas. Sliding at janazas.
All of this stuff. All this stuff.
Sliding at janazas.
Killing each other over girls who are Muslim. Two Muslim men shooting each other over girls and Muslims that they both fornicating with. Gender war? That's a gender war. That leads them to more killing. That's a gender war. That's the true gender war.
Not only baby showers, but actually having aqiqahs for babies born out of wedlock.
I don't know about that. Don't nobody have no aqiqahs.
That
might be some old. People don't have aqiqahs anymore. They have baby showers.
I've seen it with my
very
own eyes.
Very few have aqiqahs.
I seen it with my own eyes, having aqiqahs for babies that's born out of wedlock. I ain't gonna even say. I'm not even gonna mention the community, but I'm just keep it to myself. What community?
Do you remember at one time the unmarried people really couldn't keep hang around the married people? Like men wouldn't let their married wife hang out with an unmarried girl because they got that hot girl summer. Why all the Muslim women talking about hot girl summer now?
Hey, look, I remember when brothers who was trying to get married that had children out of wedlock, they wasn't even looked at first.
Bro, you couldn't even leave the prayer. If dudes knew you was actively fornicating, you couldn't leave salat in the masjid.
No, I mean, and then sisters who had children out of wedlock, brothers wasn't even looking at them to marry them neither. I remember that time.
I mean.
Just to give a solution, right? The solution would be make marriage easy and make it hard to leave out of the marriage. That's the solution. Stop putting these big stipulations on a marriage and all these criteria. I want this. The Prophet ﷺ said to make the marriage easy. Point blank, period. Stop putting criteria on it to make the marriage hard and making it easy to leave out. Divorce is frowned upon. Make marriage easy because the Prophet ﷺ said to make marriage easy. The best marriage is the easiest marriage. Hadith. Point blank, period. See, we trying to beat around the bush with everything. You want this, you want that. Marry that person. The Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that if you marry for his sake, he will increase your risk. Stop worrying about all the shenanigans and just marry. Allah said that. See, if you want to talk about solutions, we talking about the problem, then we're gonna get into the solution. The solution is easy. The problem is y'all want to keep being niggas. I'm done with all the shenanigans. I said it in the post. Make the marriage easy. Stop asking if the brother ain't got it. He ain't got it. You like the brother? Marry the brother. Offer dua for the man. Period.
Absolutely.
Cut the shenanigans, man. Cut the shenanigans. I don't want to hear it, y'all.
She on point with this one, she. Islam came to make us better. Absolutely. But we are in a loop and relinquishing the sunnah. And subhanAllah, we're at that point of no return. I don't think it's a point of no return.
We ain't a point of no return. No, I can't say a point of no return.
It fixed, but what happens is when you're dealing with tajdeed is renewal, right? Like the Prophet ﷺ said, Bada Islam Ghoriban. Islam started off as something strange. Sayaudu, it'll return back to that strange thing. Marriage is something that's strange to people, but because everybody gets together, and you talk about pandering. When we talk about pandering, you're catering to a person's weakness, right? Remember earlier I mentioned the word simp. Simp is the opposite of the pimp. That's why you just took away the P and put the S there. The sucker pimp, right? Meaning he plays on your emotion. He plays. Like if I wanted to get all the sisters riled up right now, I want the sisters to like me and high five me. I'll start talking about how brothers is broke. They play games. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to get real jobs. Y'all need to stop.
Super simp.
This whole joint, this joint will crash. It'd be like 100, 200 people on this joint. Yeah, that's right, Imam. That's what I'm talking about. But we're not talking about that kind of stuff. We actually talking about trying to make better what we already in. Trying to make better what we already in. Not make it worse, but make it better. Right? In each example that I'm only mentioning from what I'm mentioning to you, is that those are the things that you learn, that you learn from. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So that's the reason. That's what's happening. We're trying to see something different. And truthfully, I could talk about the positivity all day.
That's the easy part. That's the easy part. That's the easy part.
When people get married that, you know, either grew up together, take shahada, things of that nature, that's known. Matter of fact, you got known families in Philadelphia, your tribe, like clansmen from that. You're like, oh, you married from such and such family? Okay, mashallah. Oh, you married such and such family? Yo, that's such and such grandson that just married my granddaughter. Oh, yeah, yo, you know, like, you know, my son, he's engaged to get married. One of my coworkers, the girl he's gonna get married to, my coworker, that's her cousin. I was like, oh snap, I didn't even know that. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, you have those type of things. We can go on and on about the good, but you're going on and about the good. The only thing you'll see is, yeah, they doing that. Those are the things you talk about. But right now, what we talking about right now, when we talking about right now, is the problems that we have, and the solution is to get married. You know, they're looking for a high value Muslim. Yo, ain't nothing wrong with that. I got that's gonna be a topic in the future. I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah, like it's if the brother can do it, if the brother can do whatever he wants because he has it. Alhamdulillah, Allah provided the money for him, right? To be able to do whatever he needs. Alhamdulillah, we praise that, right? But let's play the devil's advocate, right? See, now, this how I am when we talk about brothers making money, right? Are you putting other brothers on to make money so they can be able to spread this wealth around and create families? That's what I ask myself.
This right here, this is what I'm gonna say about this, because that is a topic. That's something that's on my mind a lot. And a couple weeks ago after Juma, I was talking about this at the masjid. I know Muhammad was there when I was talking about it. And I tell you, the young bucks, get your chicken, get you a skill, finish school, get you a skill, start a business, or get that money. Be that what they call a high value man, 5 digits, 6 digits. We act like we scared to make bread. Right? We act like we scared to get that money. No. I'm not like saying that. No, I'm so serious about that high value man business though. I know you probably was joking around, but I mean, that's something that's a topic. That's a real live topic, because sometimes the impoverished mind state causes us and increases us to remain in that impoverished mind state. Most of us are not spiritual enough. We block our own self. This is an emotion blocking as well, right? What do I mean by that? Read Surah Waqiyah, right? The Prophet ﷺ say you protected from poverty. However, sometimes we're not patient enough to look in order to see the result, to see the barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're put in a hardship, right? When you're put in a hardship. I know brothers that didn't have 2 shoes to rub together, or or anything, and now alhamdulillah, they wealthy. I know brothers that was in prison, murderers, all that. These dudes is millionaires. I was just with a brother. He did 25 years, dude, a millionaire. He got like 4 or 5 trucks that he the tractor trailers, right? So no, getting money, yeah, we can get money. It's not just restricted, but see, the concept is sometimes with Muslims, we can't seem to put the pieces together. We keep separating and making things one piece at a time, right? Making one thing at a time. We only focus on one thing. We spend about like 80 years talking about a woman's dowry, right? Spend about 80 years of that. Well, you could have touched on that on one day, and it's still, and you got to live together as a community and encourage each other to do what? To go out and get jobs. You can't talk about it. You can't talk about having high value men when you got a community where everybody's a worker at the local fresh grocer. You can't have those kind of conversations, right? So therefore, there's a whole lot to open up to. So I'm looking. No.
I read what Malika said. If that's directed towards just the women, so is the Prophet ﷺ a liar?
What you mean?
She said that make marriage easy and divorce difficult. Is that directed towards the women? That's directed towards period.
Of course, it's
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what. And I said that.
Although it's permissible, it's not haram.
I said in front. Everything I said, I quoted a narration. I quoted hadith and Quran.
Think about how important.
The problem is people have a fairy tale mind state.
No. They're using other than Islam.
Right.
Islam can't work if you don't use it.
Right. Like I give an example.
It work for you if you don't use it.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. Ali ibn Abi Talib, Karamallahu wajh, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, right? What happened when he went to go marry Fatima? Did he have the mahar? No. He had to borrow it. It was given. How important marriage is? That's how important marriage is. All right, Sheikh, you ain't got that mahar? I'm going to lend it to you. Right? How important marriage is? Right? We could just keep going on and on. There was, but we don't allow ourselves to see the barakah of Allah. We don't have that spirituality.
We borrowed the mar from the Prophet
by ascribing to tariqah, calling oneself Sufi, saying you practice tasawwuf, but really what's inside is a heart full of shak, a heart full of doubt, right? A heart full of doubt.
Soon as the hardship come in, your Imam, everything you learned, your tasawwuf, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Soon as the hardship come, we sitting around, we moping, we complaining. When we forgot, let me give you advice that said to me.
Yeah,
he said sabr. He said sabr. He said sabr is not to be asked for, is to be practiced. No. So when the hardship come, you are forced to have it. You can't ask for it. You have to quit. You have to quit it. You have to put it into practice. No. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that you will be tested. You will be tested with all these things, but give good tidings for those who have that has sabr.
In Allah ma'a sabirin. Allah Ta'ala is with those who practice restraint. Sabirin.
Yes, exactly. You have to put it in. You have to implement it. But as soon as a hardship comes, we go out to a bar, we go drink, we go get lit, we go sit around the corner.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to the title. All these things that you're talking about, is it not part of an emotion?
Right.
That emotion, you feeling that emotion. That emotion is you giving up, you depleted, you bombed out. And then what you do? Now you get in that mode. What's that mode? That mode, you carrying that, you carrying that feeling, you expressing that. So once you turn to those things that are haram, even if you ain't doing a haram, right? And you may have came out of a bad marriage, right? If you came out of a bad marriage, and then you say, look, I ain't never getting married again. Is that or not an emotion that's going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's one thing when you intend marriage and you can't get married and nobody marries you. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But when you intend never to marry, like, look, I ain't never doing it again, that's a whole nother story. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I believe practice was sincere about Sufism in the West. We'd have more marriages because Sufis get divorced too. They get divorced every day.
Let me touch on that, Sheikh.
That joint, that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother level. Sufis get divorced all the time, B.
Let me touch on that first. If when a man or a woman is a tasawwuf practitioner, and I'm using the practitioner in the context that their creed is sound, their fiqh is sound, and they practice tasawwuf either based off of a tariqah based tasawwuf or a practical fiqh tasawwuf. The individual the brother who that sister married that's a practitioner, if she doesn't marry another practitioner to where they can help each other and aid each other in that science, then the marriage will become problematic. I'm gonna give you an example. The wife that I had married and brought her here from Ethiopia, she was raised Tajani, but she wasn't Tajani. She just did the Tortib. My late father-in-law, he was a big sheikh, and the Khalifa that was his sheikh, you know what I'm saying? He was the Khalifa that moved from Nigeria to Sudan and then into Ethiopia. Right? I went and prayed I prayed for him at his maqbarah. So with talking to her and talking about tasawwuf, talking about tariqah, talking about the manhaj of the shehu, and how the tasawwuf that the shehu taught, even though the shehu had 5 disciplines of tasawwuf, he had 5 tariqas, but he didn't teach tasawwuf on a tariqa base, right? Am I still married to that sister? No, I'm not. Does it have anything to do with tasawwuf? No, it doesn't. Because the same practice that we was doing married, we still do now. We still do now. Our children still believe that we married. But the reality is that no, we're not. So, you know what I'm saying? Sufis, they get divorced too. Some, they get divorced because one is not practicing how they're supposed to be practicing in regards to the tariqa or to the science of tasawwuf. And some conditions that people are not, they have not let go some of their practices and their behavior that they held on to from Jahiliyyah. And the fact that when an individual, you know what I'm saying, asked for sabr, the Prophet ﷺ told a companion one time, he said, do not ask Allah Ta'ala for sabr, because Allah Ta'ala is going to afflict you with trials. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for good. So at the same time, when an individual get married, or if you're going to get married, don't get married because the individual practices tasawwuf. Get married because the person is trying to uphold and practically practice the sunnah, internalize the sunnah. Because if without the sunnah, that you don't have any tasawwuf. Without the practicing of the sharia, you're not practicing tasawwuf.
I think Malik, I said that we lack in spirituality, and you know, I think what she mean, I think she mean what we say as far as when we're referring to soul. We're not talking about those, you know, who get into the junior flexion and, you know, disco lilat and things of that nature. I don't know about tasawwuf being the heart of Islam. Tasawwuf is from one of the branches.
Is the third science. Is the third science.
Imam.
Is the third science.
It's your i'tiqad, your tenets, your beliefs, your amal or mu'amilat, your fiqh, your practice, and then tasawwuf is your
and then tasawwuf. And then tasawwuf.
Tasawwuf is referred to as the ilm sir, the science of secret. Right? Because if your iman is weak, you can't possibly begin. Think about it. Removing the blameworthy characteristics from one is purifying your heart from what? Ujub, right? Conceit, arrogance, envy, unjustified anger, right? Remove those.
The love of rank.
All those that I just named, they occupy your heart. Tawheed can't settle in that heart. Because if you're an arrogant person, you won't be able to understand and see that Allah Ta'ala is mutakabbir. Because you'll be full of yourself. You see? So on that level, yes, absolutely. But that doesn't guarantee you that you get divorced. Ali ibn Abi Talib was married, I don't remember how many times, right? And his son Al-Hassan is responsible
31.
Spreading
some legislate it was 31 times.
The world, you know, to this day. So, and that doesn't take away from their maqam, their spiritual state. Now, in our time, what we're dealing with, absolutely. Many of our sisters are full of themselves. Ujub. The men as well. You can tell by the poses and the pictures that they take, right? You know, you talk about tabarruj, those things where people are exposing their bodies and things of that nature. You got that, right? All our sisters engage in that joint, no matter whether you put the cool on with them big windshield wiper eyelashes on in your niqab. You know, you taking that pic. To do what? Tabarruj, to expose oneself. The men, the same thing. They love bragging. Oh, my sheikh is the big sheikh. Oh, my sheikh is the big sheikh. I know this much knowledge. I know that much knowledge. Dudes be lying about Arabic. Like, yeah, I'm a liar. I'm not a liar. Blase, blase, blah. So, you know, understand to solve that's an individual practice. But even if you master that, that still doesn't guarantee that you wouldn't get divorced. Matter of fact, the best of creation, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Hafsa once. That didn't change their maqam. That doesn't change their station. The way that we look at divorce is similar to how Catholics look at divorce, and we have to change that. The thing that is permissible to do, you don't just run around and start doing it like that. But if it's something, and remember, divorce sometimes protects your spiritual state. I wish I would be married to somebody that don't pray, cover, and all that crazy stuff. That's going to affect me, because now you're forcing me to accept something and be someone that I'm not. I'm Muslim, and I expected that I married a Muslim wife, right? And vice versa. Any woman that's married to a man is not praying or any of those things. What are you doing? We cause our own mental strife. Usually the people that keep that individual that they're married to, that's in all kinds of dhulm, they are the ones who's now saying, I need to heal first. I've been traumatized. I've been in bad marriages, right? And they live in the past and they never move forward. The people of Tasawwuf, a quick Sufi lesson, the people of Tasawwuf, they're Ibn Waqt. They live in a moment. Once that moment is passed, they're in the moment that they're in. So meaning that you can't be going forward, but still looking backwards. We keep life pushing. We don't let it affect it. What is the talk about purifying the heart or having dunya? The dunya is in your palm. It's not in your heart. The dunya is in your palm, not in your heart. That meaning if you lost that thing that you idolize or that you love the most, it's not going to change your spiritual state. We're walking around and living contradictions of everything, but we know the titles.
You just gave the definition of zuhud. You just gave the definition of zuhud.
That's what the Tasawwuf is.
Yeah, zuhud is having the dunya in your hand, but not in your heart.
Absolutely. So hold on one second. I'm gonna put up another comment here. Tasawwuf is from ihsan. Ihsan is all adab. No. What's the next one? Let's be clear, it's not foolproof plan for divorce, but it's a step in the right. No, absolutely. I don't disagree with you. I think I'm elaborating on your thoughts, maybe.
But first you have to have a beginning. Bidayah to hidayah. You have to have a beginning. And a lot of times the beginning, a lot of us don't even know how to offer salat correctly. People are still, Imam Khalil, I was talking to Ahmed about a lecture that y'all was doing back in the day about the four major things about eating haram. What was it? Wiping over the cotton socks, the iddat period, and what was the other one?
Masal Muhammad. Eating halal, the aqidah was about aqidah, eating halal, the marriage, and wiping over cotton socks now.
Right. So now just think about that. If a lot of us are still wiping over cotton socks or doing all these other things and don't even know the conditions of wudu, don't even know the conditions of salat, how can we even talk about tasawwuf?
Well, the thing is about the thing about that is all of these things help your maqam and your darajat. So what happens is that a lot of people are looking at these issues as for convenience.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking at it. It's like halal haram, right? That's another level you get to, where you practice wara. You worry about your sources and things of that nature, or where these things are coming and how will it affect you, and et cetera, et cetera. Most of us are just like halal haram. If it's sunnah, I ain't really got to do it. If it's wajib, I got to do it, right? That's where most of us are at now in our mu'amalat, in our practice. So therefore, that spiritual state, it doesn't grow. Most people don't see marriage. Marriage is a way to increase your risk, but you wouldn't think so. Nor would you think that Allah, nor His Messenger Sallallahu have even said so. By the way that we talk about wealth and brothers being married and being broke, right? It's a whole different mind state. You have to accept Islam as a whole system. A lot of this is all philosophical theory that we're fighting against. That's been set. Those parameters has been set up in today's time. They philosophize fiqh, right? Oh, well, what if this and what about this? And then for this and then what about that, right? That's why I love the way Imam Malik. Did it happen yet? If it ain't happened, we'll talk about it when it happens. Because a lot of our stuff is based on hypotheticals. A lot of things are based on hypotheticals. Oh man, no, don't worry about that. That'd be another time. We get to you on it with those the cotton sock wipers. cotton socks and wiping over kimars. It doesn't have the strength and legitimacy of wiping the feet and wiping over cuffs. That's basically on a,
I was just talking about in general that we got to go from the beginning. A lot of us don't even have our beginning intact to talk about other things, right? We're lacking prayer. It's 10:30. Did y'all see anybody come in this masjid and pray Isha yet?
Like, but it's a foundation.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying, y'all? So let's be realistic, right? But getting back on topic, right? Again, is that the solution is we have to learn how. Once we get married, we got to learn how to stay married and marry for the sake of Allah.
Yeah, turn it back to the Sharia.
Right. That's what. Then and it goes to everything. And the Quran and the Sunnah. Everything I said earlier was about Quran and the Sunnah. The Quran and the Sunnah. And then stay married. You think Fatima and Ali radiallahu anhu didn't have problems? It's evidence that they had problems. That they even went to the Prophet and asked for help.
Yeah, they had problems. Most of our today's problem was solved. Well, for some of us, was solved by means of Ali and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala and having a dispute, right? About the woman having to cook, clean her house and cook for her husband was solved by the Prophet ﷺ dealing with Ali and Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha.
The kids of the community. The kids, exactly. They was kids.
Exactly.
It was kids.
Wait, we gotta Malik ain't been on
Malik,
here.
Go ahead, Malik. Go ahead, Malik.
Come on.
Join the symphony.
I'm having problems with my device. I'm just listening, man.
Come on, you said enough right there. Just drop a couple bars on us.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. I mean, everything has pretty much been said. I'll drop a few, inshallah. Is our failed relationships based off of emotions? If I have to, I'll say yes. And it goes both ways with us as men and women. And like we were saying yesterday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Ali Imran, Allah says, وَلَيْسَ ذَكُرُ كَالْأُنْثَى, that the man is not like the woman. So if we know that a woman's nature, a woman is going to be emotional, as men, we got to learn how to, not be so emotional. Take the emotions out sometimes where we might have to, sit down. We have to be the rational one as men, because this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us to be the rational one. So of course a woman is going to deal with emotions sometimes, and as men we have to just step back and let them, be in their emotions. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to let his wives, they would be in their emotions sometimes. If you just look at once one of the wives, I think it was Zainab or Salima, she sent a plate a plate of food to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's house while he was with Aisha, and Aisha, her jealousy caused her to break the plate. She broke the plate up. And what did the Prophet ﷺ do? He let her, stay in her moment of jealousy. He picked up the plate and he said, verily your mother is jealous. She has jealousy. But look, this is Ummahatul Mu'mineen, the best of the women, though. Look at, how they would fast and how they would pray and give charity and all of these things. So as men, I think we have to be, the more rational ones and take our emotions out, sometimes. And we have to go by what Allah and His Messenger says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why a lot of our marriages is failing, because we're not sticking to the text. We're not sticking to the sunnah. We don't even, go through things the right way. And then we wonder why our marriages is failing while we're all in our emotions and our feelings, because we're not doing it the way that Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam had legislated for us to do. We live in a time, wallahi, of chaos. The social media age is an age of chaos. And a lot of times I'm to the point now where I just shut my mouth, because man, we all shout out. We need Sufism to remove those blameworthy characteristics and to add on those praiseworthy characteristics, because we all shout out when we, at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like we was talking about the The brother, he got a picture of his slammer in the inbox. The sister, she got her, her boobies in them. This stuff happens, and this stuff is, reality and realistic. So how long is we gonna sit around and like I get hyped with stuff, man? That's why I be trying to chill. I'm gonna raise my blood pressure. How long are we gonna just sit around and just keep playing and act like this stuff don't happen? Oh no, that don't happen. This stuff is going on among Muslims. Muslims that have been Muslims for 20 years, 30 years. This stuff is a reality. So when are we really going to sit down and get this thing right, man? Because when we think about it, time is not even slowly, time is quickly moving away. Quick, look at all the calamities and all the disasters we're seeing now. Earthquakes, all of we smoking. Oh, this is a wildfire. Man, we moving closer to the Yom Al-Sa'ad, to the last hour, and all of us are getting older and we're moving closer to the Kubur. So we're gonna die, and we're gonna die in the state where we playing, where we BSing. So we gotta get serious. We have to look at the examples like the brothers was mentioning about the marriages of the righteous. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He, Fatima alayha salam, she came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, we need like help around the house. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave her a dhikr. Say subhanallah, say alhamdulillah, say Allahu Akbar. Sulaim and Abu Talha, he wanted to marry her, and her mahar was become Muslim, take shahada. So what are we really talking about here? The companions, most of them was poor. You had men like Abdurrahman ibn Auf, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Uthman, who had paper, but most of the companions was poor, living day to day. So you can go out and chase and get the bag, like Amir Khalil was saying, get the bag. Be high quality people, but know that the life of this dunya, you may go one day with and without. So if you want a man, you want to struggle with a man, mashallah, that's for the sake of deen, and do it. And if you don't, everybody has their preference. Everybody has their preference of what they're going to put up with and what they're not going to put up with. And Allah knows best. I don't got much to say.
Yo, you done said so much, got my mind racing, bro. I could talk about Ahlul Sufa, where everybody keep talking about Tasawwuf. Ahlul Sufa, they live in the back of the masjid, on the compound. And from them was Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala, right? He stayed there, like he really was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The way you hear about his name and read about him, you would thought he was with him over like 20 years or more, right? Or 10 years or more. But he only spent about 3 to 4 years with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And also Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he basically, had gathered what he needed from his necessities, but he wasn't really trying to make a whole lot of wealth. But however, after the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu made so much wealth that when Umar was the Khalifa, Umar was the first a lot of things. Umar was the first SWAT team. He was the first IRS auditor. He started auditing people's wealth and stuff for that. That's another hadith. The example.
First welfare system.
First welfare, right? Exactly. Well, actually, zakat in itself is a welfare system.
Such as reading that, or right. Even or taking care of the soldiers' families.
Umar radiallahu anhu was the first to suggest a stipend for the Khalifa.
Right.
When Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was the Khalifa, he was a merchant, so he would go to the marketplace and sell his silk. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he had seen him walking, and he said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to go make my risk." He going to go make my risk. He sold silk. So Umar has suggested, radiallahu anhu has suggested that they pay a stipend to him from the Beit al-Mal. No. So his stipend was one amount, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he used to like sweets. So from his stipend, his wife would put a little bit to the side, and then on one particular day, she would make him his favorite sweet dish. So he would ask her, "Where do we get the money for this? I only get so much." So then she had told him, she said, "I will put a little bit to the side, and then I made this dish for you." He went to Umar and said, "Decrease my stipend." Because he didn't, his whole it was based off his taqwa. So when he returned, when he was dying, he had a orchard, a date orchard, and also and he had commanded his family to put that orchard in the Beitul Mal to replace the stipend that he was being paid all them times that he was the Khalifa.
Remember Umar's wife, when he was a Khalifa, censored him and told him to take, to get accept the stipend from the Beitul Mal, right? So, but guess what? That was his wife. We ain't going to get nowhere if we keep this war going on and not getting married. Not getting married. We ain't even talk about not having children because nobody seems to want children no more either.
They can't have children.
Well, some people can't.
Well, we know, but
those who can, a
lot can't. Yeah, and they don't want them neither. But a lot of us, we don't want to talk about this. We don't want to talk about the high rate of getting your tube side clipped and burned. We don't want to talk about these issues, man. We don't want to talk about real life issues that's going on. And this is even before Islam.
Right.
Even before Islam. Right. We're not trying to, like I said, we're not coming in here and pointing fingers at things like that or anything. That we could, like I said, we can come up here and sit and talk about all the kumbayas in the world. All the kumbayas in the world.
You know what I started thinking about, Saleh, when on the emotional tip, I started thinking that, as for brothers, you can get blamed when we blameworthy for. How many times dudes done 3 talaq, triple talaq? You know what I'm saying? How many times that joint happened? That joint be straight emotional. He's so mad, whatever Fatima did to him. You know what? Divorce you. One matter of fact, no lie, I swear, I promise you, I'm not trying to be a comedian. If brothers was around, they'll tell you. There was a brother we used to vend at the gas station, and that used to be like the drive-through. That was like the drive-through masjid. We used to be at the gas station, vending and stuff like this. This is way back in the day, and everybody and their mother used to stop through there, come through there, make salat with us. Nikah used to pop off there and everything, right? So brother came through one day. He must be on the phone arguing with his wife something heavy, right? He gets on the phone. He going in. And this is what they understand. The Sharia don't care about your emotions, right? It's about Allah and his messenger. And we have to let that permeate in our mind and our heart. Our emotions don't mean anything. But because we're Americans, everything that you discuss, it requires you to be emotionally invested. Americans, things can happen. You can have some old conspiracy happen, and people give away their own rights. I'll give you an example of that, and I'll go back to my story. In the 90s, right? That was the time I did all my dirt and my terror. In the 90s, parents were literally locking their own children up, right? And those same parents are the grandparents now, and I'm a parent. Those same parents that were locking their own children up, crying for the police to take them and all those things, go down the line now, 20, 30 years later, we're crying for the police not to kill our children, right? We're crying for the police, saying that, what was it called during the Clinton era? Where we were super predators. I forgot the name of the operation, but that was the operation where he was locking us all up, just taking them in, like, bringing us back into slavery again, right? All that thing happened. You use the situation of the crime that's being committed. Now, crime does need to be punished, right? But when you start seeing people starting to give away their civil liberties in order to restore,
you're talking about during the Clinton era, it's the 3 strikes you out era,
right? So these things were happening, right? We don't go grow cocoa plants in America, right? Now fentanyl is starting to be manufactured in America, but you get what I'm saying. That whole thing, that whole process, right? So when all of this stuff started happening, now everybody's looking back like, yo, where all the men at? A lot of this that's a result of all of the men getting locked up as super predators, being absent from the homes, right? Now it's one thing to punish and correct crime, but some stuff was ridiculous. So people were going to jail. I know a guy in New York. He did 25 to 40 years for crack that wasn't real. He sold sheetrock to an undercover cop. He did 25 to 40 years for selling sheetrock. Matter of fact, we called him. I think he's Muslim now. But anyway, we said, yo, you getting the Howard Shell bid, shelling sheetrock. So it wasn't really about correcting crime. You could have punished him and gave him a shorter time. 25 years that he lost, for cope, that wasn't even real. But anyway, so that emotion and drives. How many times? So back to the brother, he was on the phone. We standing there. We like, yo, Ak, you good? He like, nah. He yelling in the cell phone, going on. You know what? I divorce you. Right? And I guess a couple minutes went by. We all standing there like, damn, right? And I guess she must have said something to him, and he was like, no, like trying to bull up, nah, baby, that didn't count. I was angry. She was like, he was like, yo, I'm gonna ask the brothers over here. I'm gonna ask the good brothers right here. And it was like unanimous. He was like, yo, Sheikh, he said, I just divorced my wife, 3 times. That joint, no, he said, 3 times, that joint only counts as 1, right? He's like, nah, that's 3, Sheikh. The man literally broke down crying. He literally broke down crying in tears, right? So we ain't gonna just get on women. This, when we're saying emotions, that's emotion. Like I said, our mind is trained to go on one track where we think we just talking about that type of just marriage and divorce. It's all relationships, Ikhwan. All relationships. I got friends that I used to be friends with.
I've been there. I used to be Mr. Talak. I've been there.
Yeah, so you get what I'm saying. So this is where we, going with this. Like I said, this ain't fueling anything. This is the provoked thought, and in order to change, that's the solution. Change your mind state. Take the Sharia a little bit more serious. You can't keep saying things and then expect that it don't say anything. Like, like something simple. People sometimes when you talk to non-Muslims, you try to use their jargon and rhetoric in order to like identify with them. Like if a Muslim be like, I just want to thank, I just want to thank the man above. That's kufr. Allah Ta'ala is not a man. He doesn't resemble creation. We can't be like, oh, that's just a say. Ain't nothing ever serious with Americans. Ain't that deep? Why y'all tripping? Because it's the deen. It's the deen. We're destroying our families. We're breaking up our lineages. Sometimes we're apostating and not even realizing the in-depth seriousness behind it. So yes, we're walking away. Just because one group of deviants claim that we only got to follow the Quran, so you can't dismiss the phrase of following the Quran and Sunnah. Because where do you think you get fiqh from? Where do you think you get the madahij from? Where does that derive from? The Quran and Sunnah. It's just some blurred lines there that people need to take serious, more serious with knowledge. We don't realize sometimes we think we're doing good, but we're equipping, we're pandering. We make the sisters feel good. They think that they're protected when we like, sister, you tell that brother if he don't get a job in 90 days, then you could divorce yourself. Now I'm gonna tell you, I had a sister that happened to, a sister and a brother. Lee, was you there, Lee? I don't know. I think it's over there. Was you there at the time, Lee? When I'm talking about, I don't want to name names, places, and things of that nature. But where the sister got divorced from the brother because he lost his job. He lost his job.
I remember. I wasn't there, but I remember.
Man gave that speech. He made me look at my wife like, damn, I must not love you. Cause main man, like, yo, she divorced him after 90 days. 91 days, she went and got a divorce. Came back, main man found a job about like a month after that. They got remarried. Now, if that don't look like some play stuff, when we put in these type of things, you could have been patient a little bit longer. You wasn't getting put out in the streets. You wasn't, these type of things wasn't happening. But because sometimes we throw that stigma out there and people like, yo, now it's not a total bad thing because me, myself, personally, you wouldn't catch me at a Thanksgiving celebration, right? I stand on that, right? And some people, they be like, yo, I ain't going to be with no brother that can't take care of me and I go 90 days. And she probably stood on that. And she did because she got divorced. But then it looked kind of crazy because they turned right back around, got right back together. Right? So we're allowing these emotions, these things to block our path to the Sharia. Sometimes it requires us to have a little bit of restraint and watch, and you'll see the barakah of what Allah Ta'ala put in your family. But we can't see that because we immediately complain more and then we rely on the law later when we ain't got no choice. Right? It don't hit in the beginning. What hits in the beginning is our complaints. Part of sabr is refraining from practicing restraint, refraining from complaining at the onset of the affliction, not later. We right from the rip. Oh my God, you lost your job. I don't know what you're gonna do. You know I ain't gonna stick around. You don't get enough. I mean, it is what it is. If that's a choice, I'm not knocking it. But at the same time, it's like, man, you know.
But the thing is though, we gotta knock that, Khalil, because that happens so often, right? Like I'll give you an example, right? We think about our young black men, right? I'm very big on our youngins, man. A lot of our youngest men, and a lot of people now, a lot of us, man, we like you said, we come from the institutions. We come from the institutions. Some of us get jobs that deal with the what are they called? Temp agencies, right?
No.
Temp agencies. This man get a job with a temp agency. It's not guaranteed he may be there 10, 15, 20 years. It's not a career, right? So as soon as the sign of trouble come, we out. It just shows that we lack love. We lack love. Love doesn't exist in our communities no more, man. Love doesn't exist, and we can see it in the day-to-day life that love does not exist, right? We got people looking for simps because we know we can burn a simp, right? We got men praying on sisters that they know they're doing this because we know we can get that from them, right? Love don't exist. Marriages are we all coming in right now with the intentions of getting something out of somebody. It is not hired anymore. Right. It's not hired. It's not good. We're trying to get whatever the dunya offers out of this person. If they can't offer it, it's off to the next one. I'll give you an example, right? It was somebody I was talking to, right? And the sister said, yeah, she said, I was only married for 3 days. I said, married for 3 days? You don't even know the person. She said, yeah, he just didn't fit my standard. I said, why didn't it fit your standard? And then she spoke about the yearner, right? The yearner. And I said, dang, I said, I understand that. And it wasn't that the yearner wasn't, I mean, is that the brother can't go as far as with the Rosemary Huckleberg could go. Well, you get what I'm saying?
They got solutions for that.
But that's what I'm saying. But still, you fit in the criteria of him with the young, with the Rosenberg, right? But then we look at things like this, right? Also, let's play devil's advocate on both ends. Is that the person could be doing everything right, but since you still in love with this other person, you're like, well, he ain't doing what you call was doing. Well, he ain't, as you said, it goes back as you said again. I'm gonna play your side, right? You said what about the men who still thinking about so and so?
Right.
Now, and it goes all back to that. How can marriages go when we still emotionally again attached to someone else too? Like these ain't problems too. As I broke it earlier, we're talking about somebody complaining to a man about another man subconsciously. You complaining to a man that you want to marry about another man that you was married to that you still interacting with and putting what he's saying to you on the other man. And it's vice versa. Mm-hmm. So how can we say married if these are the things we doing? Like I said, I ain't gonna say no names. We ain't gonna say no names of situations that happen. We seen texts with somebody was text somebody talking about, yo, come crack my biz at. How you gonna be married? How you trying to get to know this brother? You asking another brother, come crack your biz at. Fix it. It's all your fault. Fix it. I love him. Come on.
She
Come on, bro.
She told the brother, you need to go back and fix that problem.
You need to go fix it. You need to go fix it. I got caught being a player, so you go fix what I did wrong. Man. Emotions, man. Emotions, man.
You take the sharia out of it.
Hey, look.
We ain't gonna get no good out of this.
Hey, look. And if the individual would have never asked the question, they would have continued with their behavior.
Generational, it's a fad. Everybody talk about getting rid of generational curses. This is it right here. Sheikh. If it ain't predicated on deen, man, I can't say that. What Malik saying? If it's not predicated off of deen, it'll never work. Absolutely. How is it that we enter into Islamic marriages and relationship void of Islam? sadaqta, right? Soon as a problem arises, instead of referring back to the book and the sunnah, we refer to some kafir song, absolutely, and television. Listen, music destroys more relationships than we actually think. When dudes get mad, right? Some of my friends, I won't say no names, they would listen to Rick James, right? When they get angry with their wives. I know some brothers listen to Snoop Dogg. These things play a major part because the music, although we enjoy it and find, it's the kira, it's the recitation of shaitan. And recitation moves. That thing moved that heart. It does something to you. Think about it. The beat in itself makes you lose control of your body. You start moving, rocking, and swaying. Like you ain't got control over your body no more. Right? Put a beat on. Like Dave Chappelle had that one episode. Put a beat on, put drums on, black people start dancing, right?
Hey, Sheikh, Hudra do the same thing, Sheikh. I'm do the same thing.
I'm cool on it. I wouldn't practice that anyway.
Hudra do the same.
Yeah, y'all got that. I'm cool.
Allah.
Yeah, that joint take me back. I seen that before. You just changed the word.
Nuri Muhammad sallallahu la ilaha illallah.
No, that ain't not compared to what you call old boy was sounding like Tank with his joint. He came in there talking about what you mean singing. That saved our soul. He came in here and singing. He got mad and singing.
But what?
Yo, mashallah.
These things that absolutely, absolutely, it affects us. It affects the outcome of things, and it's just time to just really just practice deen. But these are solutions. Some people need to hear this. This is the whole point of us doing podcasts. I like teaching. Anybody know? They know. I rather teach. It took me a long time to get online. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, Malik was the one that referred way back in the day. Yo, Sheikh, I'm telling you, this is the new lick doing online. We was in the masjid, sitting in the masjid. You know what I'm saying? So, the reality is that we spread this information. Some people may disagree because they disagree about the nuances on how to arrive at the correct path. Sometimes it's legitimately, outright that you have to reject it. And sometimes it's not. It's just a difference of how you arrive at the path. But I say that what Imam Malik said, that Sheikh Uthman Danfodio quotes Imam Malik saying, the thing that saved this ummah was relying on the first, and referring back to the first 3 generations to the Saleh, right? So, that's it. Yeah, okay, we could play the philosophical game. Yeah, we got technology now, telephones and things of that nature. You take and look at that example and how to incorporate it. We just talked about a couple examples. We talked about Zar, right? Zar, that I'm glad we talked about this. Sister Malika made reference to it. Zar was still in love with Abu Zar, but it didn't stop her from, being married to her husband. Right? She spoke praise highly, said there's no man that could do her better than Abu Zar. Right? She didn't get written off. As a matter of fact, the Prophet ﷺ talked about his love for Aisha based on the love that Abu Zar and Zar had for one another. So if it was absolutely wrong, then the Prophet ﷺ wouldn't have never praised something like that. Right? So these things plays a major role. We have to refer back to that time. And I think it's strategic because if you notice, I've never seen this a day in my life where people use truth in order to undermine the truth, right? We use Islam to undermine. We use the Quran in order to invalidate the Sunnah today. And people are building whole movements on it. Oh, I only follow the Quran. You would think that Muslims hate hadith. One group praises hadith, but because they have deviant beliefs, we're just supposed to throw away hadiths altogether, right? I mean, you could even go into whenever you start to begin to study the Muqaddimah of Imam Muslim, right? That term where you heard people throwing it around, Ahlul Hawa, that term was utilized That term was utilized from when they collected a hadith from a deviant. That was the status that they got, but they still, still took the hadith, right? But it was Ahlul Hawa. So, inshallah. Saleh, you back on, right? Inshallah, I guess we get ready to close out, man. It's like, it's hitting our 2-hour mark. I ain't even intending to stay on this long. I got to do them all. I'm still in school, trying to get some of that chicken.
Any more questions, y'all? Anything that y'all like?
Comments?
Question and comments.
Participation of everybody tonight. It was an excellent dialogue. This is an excellent dialogue. Very interactive as well. But we can't let our emotions supersede the Sharia. That's just the bottom line. You can't do it. There's no success in it. We have to be a people that's steadfast, and we have to make our lives fit Islam. We have to make our lives fit Islam. We have to make our lives fit Islam. We cannot make Islam fit our lives, right? Because and I'm telling you, I've seen this for years. People, we need a fiqh for black people. No, we don't. We need the same fiqh that everybody else is following. The barakah is in ibtida, in follow. I mean, ittima, in following, right? Not innovating, but following, imitating. That's what a barakah lies in. You don't recognize the barakah that Allah puts in when a person is dedicated to the sunnah, the behavior of the Prophet ﷺ is sunnah. People love you, and they don't even know why they love you. Like, man, he a good brother, man. You always here for salah. Even the people who don't pray in the masjid is ibtiba. Now, barakallahu fikum, Sufyan. Even people who don't even pray in the masjid, where they recognize and see you in the masjid, and go into the masjid or things of that nature, that draw. The real draw is that sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? That's what the draw is, right? Alhamdulillah, I was blessed to have this in my life. No cap. My wife said, you really love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She broke it down to me one day. She said, I always used to get mad because you were always leaving out to go to the masjid to pray, right? It's like this goes in my chronicles, all right? So I'm like, well, so soon as she said, yeah, I actually learned that. She said, because my last marriage, they never go to the masjid. So I always thought, man, we're just supposed to be married and y'all have class at home and y'all just pray together at home. She's like, but you actually get up, go out the house, and go pray. And she was like, that's what made me attracted to you, right? And I'm like, subhanallah. That kind of like boost me like another 10 notches. You
smiling now. Look at you cheesing. You cheesing now. You sipping now. You cheesing.
She's like, hey, right? But the case in point is our families have to be built off of that. We need to praise our children that love to put on an imamah, right? Think about it. Imam Malik's mother dressed him in the clothing that the ulama wore, right? Remember, Imam Malik was a singer. He used to rock 2 earrings and everything. His mother influenced his lifestyle. But imagine us having a whole lifestyle with nothing but Gucci, Fendi, and all that other name brand stuff, right?
Imam Malik mother did the Eddie Kane Jr. on him. Look, you can't get it because you ain't got it. That ain't you. Go get that knowledge.
He used to love singing and playing with birds, man. So we need to bring our families back to this, and that's just my closing statements, inshallah. Y'all make y'all closing remarks. I'm done. Inshallah, y'all make y'all closing remarks. Muhammad, you take us home one of them good old Sufi du'as. Inshallah. Go ahead, Saleh, Malik, y'all got some closing remarks. May Allah Ta'ala reward everyone. If you found benefit in this, please share it. All right? Share it, because we need to get our families back on that course, right? Remember when families used to sit down on the ma'idah and eat together? Right? Remember everybody used to eat from one plate versus a spoon? Right? Those days need to come back, because they used to bring love to the hearts and families. All right? Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I'm done talking.
We need to just stay married, man. And my last thing is that we need to stop. We need to Get that fear out our hearts of being married again. Scared of failure. Scared of being hurt again. We got to come in with husnul dawn. We got to come in with a good perspective that you're going to be the best wife you could be to that man, and he's going to be the best husband he can be. And offer dua for each other. Dua is the weapon of the believers. Offer dua for me when you see my shortcomings, and I will do the same. And show love. Lower your wings. Right? Lower your wings for to your husband. Be his cloak, and be hers too. And that's the only thing I gotta say, man. Just we get married, let's try to stay married. Don't make it hard to marry, and don't make it easy to get out of. That's it. Anything, Malik?
Your
You
mic
gotta mute
muted.
yourself, Sheikh.
I said it seemed delayed on my part. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you good. I can hear you.
All right. Well, just, I'm saying pretty much what Saleh said, though, about the, loving each other. Like, of course, we have to love each other, for the sake of Allah. Like, love, we can't have this type of baseless love. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we sit around, we listen to the oldies, we listen to slow R&B songs, and that stuff predicate our love a person, especially, your spouse. Love them because, they love Allah and His Messenger. They wake you up, to offer the salat. They, they fast with you. They pray with you. We have to love each other, for the sake of Allah. If it's not for the sake of Allah, then it's for the sake of the dunya and the sake of our nafs, and it'll never work. And just, as spouses, just be friends. Be friends with one another. The Prophet ﷺ, he would have intimate time with his wives, and not just mentioning about sexual, but intimate times. Just imagine the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He's khairu khalqillah. He's the best of Allah's creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in 23 years, He allowed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do what no other prophet or messenger before him did. He subdued his whole, peninsula. He subdued the Arabian Peninsula. He, by the time he died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was over 120,000 companions. Every prophet before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they wanted to wage jihad. Some of them fought, but by the time that they passed away, their whole community, their whole state wasn't believers. In the time of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he completed everything was akmal with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But I say that to say the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he once was on a Sariya or a expedition with his companions. And when he would go on expeditions, he would take, one of his wives with him, whoever, their turn. So this turn, it happened to be Aisha's turn. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sent his companions, told them to go forward, just keep walking, on an expedition. And look at this, even in a time as something as serious as war, he still took the time out to be intimate, to play with his wife, to let his wife see that she means something to him. He said, let's race. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Aisha raced, and this time the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he beat Aisha in the race, and he said, this time is for that time. Like basically, you beat me before, and now I beat you. And some narrations say that Aisha, she got heavier. She was eating good. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was lacing her. So take that time out to to have intimate time, because especially we be in these marriages and we have children. Take some time out of the day where you and your wife just sit there. How was your day? And I'm speaking off of experience, because I failed so much in the past. So when you look back about the things that you didn't do, you can reflect on it. Like I said, I'm a heavy oldie song. And one of my joints is David Ruffin, Statue of a Fool. I sit around like, man, subhanAllah, I played myself many times. But if you can rectify that thing, then rectify it. Have intimate time with your wife where y'all, sit and talk. Y'all read Quran and y'all do things together, because now it's like we're in these marriages and we're like enemies. We don't even talk. We don't even, we don't even like each other. So how do we expect we're going to have Islamic marriages when we don't, we don't even get along? We don't, we don't pour into each other this type of love, lillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. So if we don't do this, then it'll never work, and Allah knows best, and may Allah give us success and following the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran, and the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
All right, my closing statement is that we need to break the cycles. We come into these marriages. A lot of times we come into these marriages. We have children of our own. We marry a woman that has children, and very seldomly we come into a situation to where um, no, the husband don't have any children and the wife don't have any children. But the breaking the cycle is that we have to, in cultivating our marriage, we have to be cultivating our family as well. Because the example that we're put by us being husband and wife, we're the example for the family. Your daughters look at how you treat their mother, and the sons look at how their mother treat their father, and that as a result of the harmony within the union, the children become in the state to where they look at marriage as being something important because their mother and father, the husband and wife, their mother and father made marriage important and made the family important. I remember one time teachers, one of my teachers, he was doing a mediation, arbitration between another imam and his wife. They had been married like 45 years, and my teacher he had asked the other imam, you know, what is the problem? What is the issue? You know what I'm saying? Can it be fixed? And this was a situation to where the wife was upset. But one of the things when the imam asked her what did you love about your husband, is that she said, I love the way that my children love him. I love the way that my children love him. So my teacher was like, okay, you know, what do you love about her? And that the imam, he said, I love about her is that I never had to want or ask anything. I mean, that she always knew whatever it was that I needed because she tended to me. So my teacher was like, y'all can't get divorced. Y'all not just an example for the children, y'all an example for the ummah as well. How are we gonna know how to deal with each other in our marriages without looking at the example that's right in our face? The Imam, he never took another wife. He had many opportunities to take another wife, but he never took one. Right? He had like 8 children. You know, the children are married and the children are in polygyny, but this not what they learned from their parents. Everything was founded on the deen, and this is what we have to get back to. We have to get back to this. Our households are supposed should be a annex of the masjid. The masjid, you have ibadah, you go there for play, go there for Jumu'ah, you have classes there. The the house, your home should be a masjid as well, because the best place that the women for the women to pray is in the inner quarters of our house. So the house has to be the masjid as well, and the atmosphere of the masjid should be also in the atmosphere of the house, so that when you come into your house, you leaving from outside the dunya and you coming into peace, right? Just like when you leave your house and you go to the masjid, you leave your house and you traveling and you going through all this chaos and adversity, and you get to the masjid, you in peace. So we have to internalize the deen. We have to internalize it, and we have to make not just the deen being a way of life, but we have to make the deen our life. That, you know what I'm saying, we walk, we talk, we breathe it. You mean we cultivate it, right? When people look at us, they just don't see a Muslim in dress. They see the Muslim in character. They see the Muslim in appearance, his appearance value. You know, so they see the Muslim in his mannerisms, right? So you know, what I'm saying this is what we have to return to. So you know, so these are my closing argument, my closing statement, and that you know, what I'm saying I encourage myself as I encourage everyone else to get back to this state, all right. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وأن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين اللهم أهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتوفنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيمن أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من وليك ولا يعز من عاديك تبارك ربنا وتعالى نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على نبي كريم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم آمين Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Remember, hit the like button, share it to your platforms. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let's keep the algorithm going. And remember, we have a few programs that's coming up. We have a program on August 4th. Well, we're gonna be doing a lecture after Juma in New Jersey, and we have a Dean intensive or a lecture that we do annually in Chicago. This is our fourth annual program in Chicago in October, the weekend of the 19th at Masjid Dawah on the west side of Chicago. Look at the flyer. I'm gonna circle the flyer around again. I'm gonna circle the flyer around for the program in Newark, New Jersey. In Newark, New Jersey. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone have a good evening.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.